Hello, everybody. Okay, so what we're going to do first is we're going to draw a marigold, and we're going to draw the center of the marigold squished up because it is a flower with many petals, and in the center there are a lot of petals kind of squished together. Okay, so we're going to draw a small little shape on our paper to kind of show the little petals together in a clump. So let me zoom in so you can see that because that's a little bit too small. Oh my gosh, that's a little bit better. Okay, so I'm just gonna make some, kind of organic little lines. You don't have to do it just like mine, but kind of looks like maybe a nerd candy. Those candies that are called nerds. But anyways, it just some basic organic little shapes there, and then that's the center of your flower, okay? And so what we're going to do now is we're going to add petals one at a time, okay? So a Cempasu chil, or a marigold flower, has a lot of petals. This is a fake one, it's not real, but it has the same idea. There's a lot of levels or layers of petals underneath each other, okay? So we're only going to draw the little parts that stick out, okay? So you're not going to see the whole petal, okay? So you can do your petals a lot of different ways. You can you can do them kind of wobbly, like that, and doesn't need to be just like that. It can be different, okay? So you can do them kind of wobbly and just go around the center. Okay, so I did one layer of petals all the way around. Okay, well, that's just the first layer, right? Now I need to do another layer of petals. Okay, so here we go. Adding more petals, okay? You can make your petals kind of pointy if you want to. Let me show you what I mean. So if you want to do your petals maybe slightly differently, you can start with that center part, right? Kind of looks like a nerd candy. Okay. And then you can do your petals kind of spiky if you want to, with zigzags. Okay. And then you would just keep going all the way around, add lots of layers, just like what I'm doing on my squiggly petals, but you're just doing your petals in a slightly different way. You could also do petals that are rainbows. Okay, you just do the same thing, going around and around and around and around and around, adding lots of layers of petals. Okay, I'm going to go back to the one where I have the squiggly lines because that's the style that I like. Okay, but you do what style of petal you would like to use. Okay. I'm just adding petals and more petals and more petals. It's almost like it never ends. Okay. So in Aztec or Nahua, the language of the Aztecs, the name for this flower is Cempasúchil. Cempasúchil. And that means flower of many petals. So you have to add a lot of petals. Okay. So I'm getting closer to being ready for the next step. Okay. Okay, I think that's enough for now. Okay, so what you could do now is you're going to design your background. Okay, so your background can be anything really. If you want to make this like have the flower in a vase and then you draw a couple more flowers next to it, any kind of flower, that's fine. You could have this be a flower that's popping up, and maybe you have a bunch of flowers in a field, like, and then you put a sky. You can even do abstract designs. You could turn this into an ofrenda or an altar for Dia de los Muertos if you would like to. You don't have to do that, but that is an option if you want to put like sugar skulls or candles or pictures of loved ones that have passed away. Okay, so it's up to you what you do around your marigold, okay, or your Cempasu. Okay. Some examples I have, here's one that I did kind of just like an abstract design. This one I started, I didn't finish, but I added a stem and I was thinking of putting a sky. Okay. Let's see. Here's one that I started where I added a picture of a little kitty cat that passed away, and then there's a little mouse that my cat liked to play with, and a little bowl of treats. Okay. So it didn't finish, but just to show you, okay, here's one that didn't completely finish, but you can see I did the petals a little bit differently. It still looks cool, okay? So here's one more with a purple background, okay? So what you're going to do next, once you've drawn out your background of what you'd like to have, okay? So I think I'm going to make an abstract design with some colors. So I'm just going to leave it like that. What you're going to do is take your oil pastels and color in side the petals. Notice I am not going across the whole thing like this. Okay, that could spread the pencil in places that I don't really want it. So try your best to color it one petal at a time to honor the petals that you have created. Okay. Right. So we're going to cover the, the whole thing with yellow, which is a warm color. And then after we've colored the whole thing with yellow, we put a layer of yellow pastel. We are going to put in some orange and some red. Okay. So let me show you as soon as I'm done coloring this in. Marigolds are typically orange, red, and yellow, the warm colors. There's not really marigolds that are strange colors. So I'd like you to do it in the warm colors, but if you want to make another marigold or Cempasu chil and do it in a completely different color, you can do that on the side here if you want. Okay, okay. So and if you don't have oil pastels, you can do this with crayon. You just have to press kind of hard to get a waxy substance on the paper so that your paint won't go through the color. All right, almost there. Okay. Next, I'm going to take orange and add little bits of orange to where, oh, my orange is breaking. Pastels are very soft and they will probably break. Okay. So I'm just going to add a little bit of orange right where the petal touches another petal. Okay. So if you look at this, when the petals go in and underneath, they get like a little bit darker. So I'm trying to show value with my orange. Okay. Adding a little bit of color, warm color to this. So not across the whole thing, but just adding a little touch of color. And you can see it's already kind of making my Cempasu chil a little bit more realistic. It's giving it a little more depth. It looks like there's darker parts, lighter parts, also known as value. Okay. Okay. Okay, so I have a good amount of orange that's kind of tucking under each of the petals, okay? I didn't color the whole thing with orange, just part of it. And now I'm going to take red, and my red is also breaking, okay? I'm going to take red, okay? And I'm going to do the same thing, but not as much color, just like a little, just a couple of like little lines to give it a little more depth, okay? Or value, or three-dimensional illusion, just a teeny bit. Now, it's really hard to get super perfect lines with an oil pastel, so please don't think that you should have perfect lines. It's almost impossible. You can't sharpen it and make it pointy. And you don't want to do that because then you will waste your pastel. I'm just adding little bits of red on top of my orange, just a little bit. Cool. Okay, so I think I am done with my Cempasu chil. Okay. Now, when I go to paint, okay, when I add color, let's choose a very different color. How about this blue here? Okay. So if I take this blue, I need to wake it up with some water. Okay. And I'm not pressing down to get the color. I'm just lightly touching it a bunch of times. Maybe a little more water. There we go. Okay. And so now I'm doing an abstract version of the background. So whatever you do in your background, okay, if I get close to my, if I paint on top of my oil pastel, you can see it's not really going through very well. And I can just take some water on my paintbrush and kind of scoot it away if it does want to stay there. But the oil will repel or push away the paint and the water, okay? So I'm just gonna add some blue there, and I think maybe some green, okay? Oh, and purple. Remember, when you're painting, you shouldn't be pushing hard on the paper. Paint, you touch the paper very lightly. You're not going to press hard at all, okay? Just lightly touching the paper, like you're petting a kitty cat, or a puppy, or a bunny. Okay. Okay, so I think you get the idea. You can do abstract with color, or you can paint your background with whatever picture you put back there, okay? I think I would continue adding some interesting lines and, develop this abstract idea a little bit more, but there you go, okay? So we drew a Cempasu with oil pastels, and the water reacts with the oil, and they don't want to mix. So you can easily kind of just push the water aside if it ever gets on top of there. Okay, so turn in your work when you're all done, and I can't wait to see what you've made. Okay, I'll see you next time. Bye.